Split the syllables. Break the word apart. Split the syllables. When your chin comes down, there are open and closed to multi-letter and are controlled. Split the syllables. Break the word apart. Split the syllables. When your chin comes down and it's open, the vowel says its name, just like A-E, I and O and U, but when it's closed, the vowel makes your mouth smile, just like I and O and with multi-letter or R control. You don't split them. They stick together. Split the syllables. Break the word apart. Split the syllables. When your chin comes down, split the syllables. Break the word apart. Split the syllables. When your chin comes down. Ow! All right, as you can probably already tell, today's lesson, we're going to focus on splitting words up into their syllables. So the question is, Mr. Slates, why does that really matter? And secondly, most importantly, why should we listen to someone that looks like you? Well, splitting up words into syllables is actually really important because it's going to help you with reading and spelling. Two things. So it's not so hard when I get to a huge word. I can break it up into its syllables and read each little tiny syllable and then read the whole word or sound out the whole word. And then when I'm going to spell a word, instead of spelling the entire word, if it's a big word, I can take each little syllable and spell those and then put them together. So here's what we're going to do. You need your student workbook, all right? Lesson 14, you're going to turn to page 262 and you're going to see tons of words on that page. And we are going to split those words up into syllables. So if you remember right from the song, you heard, right? There's open syllables, closed syllables, multi-letter syllables, and R-controlled syllables. So what we're going to do, remember, if I hear an open syllable, it's when the vowel is saying its name, which is why I'm writing all my vowels here with that line over the top. It's a closed syllable. My vowel is squishing my mouth together to make its short sound. Oops. So it's a, I, ah, and Multi-letter is things like sh and th. You're never going to separate those in a word when you go to read it or when you go to spell it, because those belong together. And you know our R controlled. We've got things like or even R. You're not going to separate those either because they go together. So let's take our first word. It's not in your student notebook, so just listen. Think of the word bagel. Bagel. In that word, do you hear a vowel saying its name? I do. I hear the A saying its name. Bagel. So remember how we figure out the syllables in a word? You take your hand, you put it under your chin, and you go, bagel, bagel. And I can tell that that first syllable is an open syllable. Look, it's making its name, right? And then the second one is closed. It's going bagel, okay? It's being squished together, so the E is not saying its name at all. Let's do another one. Happen, happen. Go ahead and take your hand, put it under your chin, figure out how many syllables that is. It should be 2, right? Happen, happen. Now, where do you think I'm going to split my word into syllables? Guess what? Oh, I love scissors. I'm going to split it down the middle. I'm going to split the syllables right there. When I hear 2 consonants or I see 2 consonants in the middle of a word, I split it in the middle. And guess what? Both of these syllables are closed. Because I don't say hape, peen, do I? That sounds weird. Okay? These are not saying their name, being squished together to make that smiley sound, right? Let's do another one. Cabin, cabin. Now, do you notice how in this word, There's actually two small words together. Cab, in. They're two words. So guess what? When there's two words inside of a large word, you just split the two words apart when you want to split up the syllables. Cab, in. And guess what? Both of these are also closed syllables because the A and the I are not saying their name. They're saying their short sound. Cab and in. So here's what you're going to do on this page. Lesson 14. You're going to take all these words. You got a lot to do. You're going to underline any phonograms that go together, any R-controlled phonograms that go together, any multi-letter phonograms that go together. What you're going to do is you're going to try to split the word into its syllables. So like for the first word, it says silver, silver. The L and V are both consonants. So you're going to split it there. So you've got silver. Put a line between the L and the V to show that that's where you split the syllables. Then you're going to mark your different vowels. So, you know that's a closed sound. So you're going to put your smiley face symbol over it. And then you're going to underline it because it's R controlled. All right? So go ahead and pause the video. Work together as a group, work together as a class, or work in pairs, however your teacher decides. And go ahead and finish this page and come back to me in just a minute. All right, now we're going to move on and talk about the new phonograms that we have for the week. We actually have 2 new phonograms, and you learned so many phonograms so far this year. So at some point during today or tomorrow, you are going to spend time practicing all those other phonograms. And we normally do that, don't we, in each video at the beginning. But this week's a little bit different. So go ahead and practice them when you have an opportunity. All right, so here's our 2 new sounds. All right, let's look at the first one. This phonogram has 2 letters, doesn't it? E and W. Okay, so already you should be getting a clue as to what kind of phonogram it is. Is it a vowel phonogram, a consonant phonogram, an R-controlled phonogram, a multi-letter phonogram? Let me give you the 2 sounds that this phonogram makes. Are you ready? So it goes oo or you. Can you say that? Oo, you. Now let me give you some words like flew. Hear the oo sound? And few, like I have just a few jelly beans. All right. Now, what do you think? Do you think I can use this at the end of an English word? Thumbs up or down? I can. This is oo, you that I may use at the end of an English word. All right. It's a vowel phonogram too, because look, my mouth is open the whole time. Ooh, I can sing it. You. All right. This next one is a phonogram that is tricky in English, and lots of people get so confused by this phonogram because it's always at the end of words. It looks like a boy's name. It appears to be a vowel phonogram, right? Because this is an E, and the first sound is ed, like a boy's name. So say ed. But here's where it gets tricky. It also makes 2 other sounds. It makes the D sound like dog and the T sound like toy. So I'm going to learn it like this. Ed, d, t. Can you do that with me? Ed, d, t. Now I'm going to add something. Past tense ending. So watch. You're going to go ed, d, t. Past tense ending. Can you do that? Ed, d, t. Past tense ending. Now Mr. Slates, what does that mean? Past tense ending. Well, to figure that out, we're going to talk about verbs. So see if you can remember what a verb is. I'm going to read this sentence. You like my dog? Looks more like a bunny, doesn't it? Anyway, don't judge my drawing. Here's what I want you to do. After I read this sentence, I want you to see if you can figure out what the verb is. Remember, verb is action. Whatever the subject in the sentence is, what its action is. The dog plays with the, I put top. What I meant to say is toy. I apologize. The dog plays with the toy. So quick. Think, what is the verb in that sentence? What is the action? Plays, right? Plays. Now, what this means is that the dog can be playing with it like right now. The dog plays with the toy. But what happens if I want to say the dog was doing that, but they were doing it yesterday, or like a week ago, or a month ago, or like 1,000 years ago, or like when there were pyramids? What would I do to my sentence to make it take place in the past, in the past tense? I'm going to do something to my verb. I'll give you a hint, okay? Anytime I want to change something so that it happens in the past, I always focus on my verb. And guess what? I'm going to add my ed ending, past tense ending. It means it happened in the past. Now listen to the sentence. The dog played with the toy. The dog played with the toy. Now, do you notice it's making a duh sound? I don't say the dog played the toy. That sounds weird. The dog played with the toy. Now, look in your student workbook again on page 270, and you've got a bunch of words that are verbs, but they don't have their past tense ed ending at all. You also have a chart that says ed, duh, and ta, like this. Ed, duh, ta. And then it says irregular, okay? Regular means normal, right? Ir is actually what's called a morpheme that changes the word to mean not normal. So if you're irregular, you're not normal. If something is irregular, it's not normal. It's not typical, right? So look at this word, the dog played with the toy. If I was writing this word in my chart, I would put play here with my ed, and I'd put it under the duh because it's making a duh sound, played. Now let's look at our first word in your chart, start. So let me read the word with its past tense ending, and let's figure out which column it should go in. Started, like I started to work on the video. Started. Do you hear the ed sound? Start ed. I have an Uncle Ed, by the way, and that's what I hear in that word. So look, I'm going to put it here. Start ed. Start ed. Sorry, I'm being a little sloppy. Started, because I hear the ed sound. Let's go across. Help, helped, helped. I hear a T. Do you hear a T? I hear a T. I definitely hear a T. Helped, helped. Okay? So I'm going to put it here because in that word, the ed past tense ending is making a T sound like Tom. Helped, helped. Now there's no T there. I don't write helped like this. That's just weird. Doesn't even look weird. It's irregular. All right? So I put my ed past. Here's what you're going to do as a class, as a group, as pairs, however you want to do it. You're going to take in all of the words you're going to put into their different columns. Now, let me give you an example of an irregular verb. Look at the word grow. Grow. Do I say I growed the grass or I growed the plants? I don't say that, do I? In that word, it's irregular. So I'm not going to actually add the ed past tense ending. I'm going to change it to something else. So if I grow something, but I did it a while ago, what would I say? I grow the grass, I growed the grass, I grew it. So I would put it here, grew, because it's irregular. Now, here is one thing you are going to do. Mr. Slate, what's the rule? When does it go ed? When does it go duh? When does it go ta? Well, there is one rule related to when it says ed, like my Uncle Ed. So here's what you're going to do. After you're done with everything, you're going to look at all the words in the ed column, and you're going to look at the last letter, hint, hint, before the ed, and see if you notice a pattern. When words that have a past tense ending are making an ed, like my Uncle Ed sound. You and your teacher go over this, go over it together, and see if you can figure out the pattern. All right?